The Premier League title race is heating up. It's very close at the top. Well, not really. Liverpool are kind of storming away with it because Arsenal are doing Arsenal things. But that's not going to stop me from going ahead and simulating the remaining 10 games of the Premier League season to see what happens. Who gets Champions League, who's the top scorer, apart from Salah, who's the top for assists, apart from Salah, and who's the top for goals and assists, apart from Salah. And then at the end, we're going to look at all the stats. I'm going to keep a collection of them. We're going to see where each team finished every season, how many points they got every season. Going to keep track of the highest points tally, the lowest points tally, compare them between teams. And yeah, without further ado, I'll I'll go ahead and show you the result of what happens after the first sim. So, see you in 10 minutes. The season is over and it's time to take a look at the Premier League table after the first simulation. And it looks like Southampton are going to go down, who would have thought, alongside Leicester and Ipswich. I think this is a theme we're going to see throughout many of these 20 simulations. Southampton managed to get 11 points. Not the worst Premier League team in history, luckily for them. Only equally the worst team in Premier League history with Derby, who also managed 11 points. Although I'm not sure on the goal difference, so maybe it is worse. You can see the rest of the table here. Not too much has changed. West Ham have gone up a bit. Okay, so Manchester City have managed to get third. Aston Villa have gone all the way up to fourth. Very surprising. And in second, Arsenal on 78 points. And first, Liverpool on 91 points. So in the first simulation, Liverpool win the league, and don't worry guys, I'm going to keep track of every position from every league table, because we're going to do the tally at the end like I mentioned earlier. But that's not it. It's time to look at top scorers. And unsurprisingly, Mohamed Salah has finished first on 32 goals, equaling his record in the 17-18 season, but not quite beating the Premier League record set by Erling Haaland in the season Manchester City won the treble, where he managed 36 or 35, if I'm not mistaken. Erling Haaland on 26, Alexander Isak on 22, Chris Wood on 20, and Ollie Watkins in at 5th. And although Cole Palmer is equal with 20 goals, I'm just going to do the top 5 that they say.
What?
And if there's a big discrepancy in appearances, I'm going to go for whoever has less appearances, obviously. And for assists, Mohamed Salah couldn't quite beat Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne's record of 20 assists. He was one off, getting 19, but he still stormed away with the golden shoe. Did they get an award for it? I don't know. He's got 19 assists in 38 games. Pretty bloody good. Jacob Murphy with 11, Anthony Robinson with 10, Mikel Damsgaard with 10, and Bukayo Saka with 10 as well in only 24 games. It'll be interesting to see how many times he pops up in the top 5 for assists, because I believe right now he would be 3rd or 4th. I think only Robinson and Salah are equal or ahead him. So, yeah. But that's who's got the top goals and top assists. I'm going to go and add the GA up on my own because there's no specific thing for it and it's very annoying to see. So I'm going to go ahead, do 18 more simulations, and I will show you guys the 20th simulation like how I've done for this, and then we're going to go through everything together where I point out anything sort of strange or untoward that's happened. Let's go. Well, that's around 3 hours of my life I don't think I'm going to ever get back, but you know what you guys can give back to me? Some bloody subscribers. Look, just subscribe. May as well, right? We're close to 500. It looks annoying being that close, without actually saying a 5 at the front of it, so just subscribe, I'm telling you right now. Anyway, we've done 19 simulations, some interesting things, some expected things have happened, and this is the final one, number 20, as the manager of Southampton. I'm going to give you a little spoiler. Southampton have not done very well. Anyway, I'll see you at the end of Season 20, or Sim 20, I should say. The 20th Sim is over. I can't lie, I just saw that it said we, Southampton, beat Arsenal 2-1, so very interesting. But without further ado, let's go and look at the league table for the final Sim. And unsurprisingly, Liverpool have won the league. This is so far, the top 8, pretty similar to a lot of the other Sims. I won't spoil too much. 90 points for Liverpool, then Arsenal, Man City, Chelsea, Newcastle, Forest, Villa, Nothing too crazy here. Southampton rock bottom is to be expected, but not the worst season in Premier League history. Still more than 11 points. But to be honest, what's been interesting me more throughout this whole simulating process is the top scorers and assisters. And my word, has Mohamed Salah had a brilliant season here. 35 goals he's managed. Erling Haaland up there as well with 23, Isak with 22, Mbeumo 21, Palmer 21, Chris Wood 20, and then there's a bit of a drop off when you find Watkins, Visser, Cunha, Kluivert, Jimenez, Fernandes. Okay. Funnily enough, I think that might be Fernandes' highest scoring season. Now we just look at assists. It's Mohamed Salah on top as well with 19. Did not break the assist record in this season. Saka in the top 5 despite only playing 24 games in this sim. And not too many crazy shocking names up there. I mean, look, there's only 10 games left in the season at the point of starting this simulation, so a lot of the players are going to be similar. But now we go over to the very overdone Excel spreadsheet to see what happened throughout those 20 sims. And I'm not going to lie, this part of the video is being recorded the next day. I just wanted to watch the Carabao Cup final. Kudos to Newcastle. I did think Liverpool were going to win, but when you hear the difference in the volume levels of the crowd, you can see why the Newcastle players were fired up. It was a typical Newcastle performance, winning every single 50-50 and just being absolute physical beasts for the whole 90 minutes. And once that first goal went in, I don't think anyone thought Liverpool were going to get back into it. But that is besides the point. We have got all the stats for all the Premier League seasons on this Excel spreadsheet now, and I think I'm going to go through assists first, then goals plus assists, and then I'm going to look at where each team finished. So here we've got, this is on the top left, Sim 1, Sim 2, Sim 3, Sim 4, Sim 5, Sim 6, and so on. It goes in that sort of pattern. So we can see that Salah tops the assist charts every single season, and I don't think that's going to be a surprise to you. But I've sort of summarized the data on the right, because we can see that there's a lot of players that come up over and over again, but there's also some random ones here, like Kluivert's just in at 4th for this season. You got Gibbs White here, who's not always there. So I've sort of summarized it here. So what this is here is the top 10 best seasons, and they are all Salah, as you can see. 20 assists, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, 19, 18, 18. So it's fair to say that EA don't think Salah's going to break the assist record, and he probably won't equalise it. Only a 10% chance he gets those 20 assists. But then on the right here, we've actually got the top 37 seasons, just because it lined up pretty well. Not including Salah, because he's just top 20, all him. So we've got Foden first with 15, which is very strange because he only pops up once on this whole list, and that's in Sim 19. I was very surprised by this because Foden didn't really pop up for goals or assists at all on any of the Sims, and then he just randomly had a masterclass in Sim 19, which was very strange. As you can see, that's recorded down there. And then second, third, Damsgaard on 13, Fernandes had a season with 12, Gibbs White 12, Saka actually had 3 seasons with 12 assists as well. I think on every single sim he only played 24 games. Sometimes he got more assists than he already has this season. Sometimes he just stayed the same. You can see Murphy pops up there a few times. But the main ones here are Saka, Robinson and Damsgaard. They were in the top 5 for almost every single season for assists. Son's in there a few times. Even Eze pops up, De Bruyne pops up. However, I've also got a point scoring system for how well each player performed with regard to assists. First, for a sim, you get 5. Second, you get 4 points. Third, you get 3 points. Fourth, you get 2 points. And fifth, you get 1 point. I think that's pretty simple. Some people were unlucky because they would have got 6th and 7th a lot of times, but I had to draw the line somewhere, and I didn't want to record top 10 assists for every single season. So, no surprise, Salah's on top, 20 sims, 5 points each sims. He gets 100. Then Saka actually managed to finish second with 64, despite only playing 24 games, which is very impressive. I mean, he started out on 10, but impressive nonetheless. In third, we have Damsgaard for assists, 39 points. Robinson. Then Son, Murphy with the dip. Then we have the next dip of Gibbs, White and Fernandez. And then from 9th onwards is players with only 1 to 3 appearances in the top 5. De Bruyne, Foden getting them all from that one appearance, finishing 2nd, as opposed to Ranga, who got 5th 3 times. So Foden's more important in this list. We've also got Watkins, Kluivert, Eze, Pedro Porro, Anthony Gordon, and Trent. So that's it for the assists. Now time to look at the goals. And obviously some very different names here, but one name that remains the same is Mohamed Salah. He obviously finishes first in almost every single sim. And again, it's summarized somewhat on the right. Top 10 best seasons, all Salah. So EA don't necessarily think he's going to break the record at all, but they're pretty damn certain he's going to get at least 30 goals. But then we go again to the top 37 sims, and it's very much heavily dominated by Haaland and Isak. As you can see, Haaland's the whole first 6 slots. Then we got Isak, Chris Wood, Haaland, Isak, Haaland, Isak. You can see it on the screen right now, with a couple of Chris Woods in there, and one Mbeumo chucked in there at 28th. It was, top scorer. They actually didn't get many more goals than they already had. Mbeumo was the only one who ever really had that big of a jump. But now we look at what I cared about more, and it is the points. I find this more interesting personally, and there's a lot less variation than the top assists players. I'm guessing that's because there's just a larger difference in goals. Like in real life right now, I think there's Salah, Isak, Haaland, Chris Wood are kind of the 4 outliers. Obviously, Salah's so much further ahead. But then everyone below them is like 3 or 4 goals off, maybe more. So without any surprise, Mohamed Salah is first, but only 98 points because Erling Haaland managed to get the golden boot in Sim 19, where he had 30 goals. Salah had only 28. That was Salah's worst season in this. And he also got the golden boot in Sim 13. Equal goals with Salah, but he had less games, so he is on top. Then we have Isak, not far behind. Chris Wood, again, not too far behind. And then there's a big jump down to Mbeumo with only 13 points. Cole Palmer getting 6. Watkins with 2. And Cunha and Mateta both finishing 5th once. I thought I'd see more names here, but only 9 different players in 20 sims managed to get the top 5. But now we go on to goals plus assists. And again, like the same with everything else, Mohamed Salah was first every single time by quite a large margin. There was a fair bit of variation to this, not quite as much as the assists, but obviously... No. What the fuck? Oh my god, guys, I nearly just shit my pants because why has all the data gone missing? I have to double tap it for the data to come back, which is really strange. I've never seen that happen on Excel before. Whew. Close call. Anyway, for the top 10 GA seasons, Salah's obviously top 10 for all of them, getting 54 twice, which obviously all of these I think are actually Premier League records. 47's the highest now. And that was Alan Shearer and Andrew Cole. Haaland and Henry both have a season with 44, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, then we go on to the without Salah section. And Haaland, Isak, Haaland. It's, again, very heavily dominated by them. The whole top 19 is all just Haaland and Isak. Haaland getting the top 3, though. And then you've got that one random Foden outlier with 29. He's 20th. And then you go back to Haaland, Isak. But then we've got Watkins at 22nd. But then we've got Palmer at 22nd with 29 goal assists. We've got Watkins at 27th with 28 goal contributions. Watkins again with 28 goal contributions. Chris Wood also with 28. Palmer had a season with 28. And then you have the Kluivert outlier with 27. And yeah, then Palmer and Chris Wood again, both getting 27. Obviously, this list could go on and I could have done every single one, but guys, that would have taken absolutely bloody ages. And I'm not doing that. And now for the points. Salah takes it home with 100. Haaland with 64, Isak with 58, very close, because obviously Isak gets a few more assists than Haaland. Cole Palmer in at 4th with 20, Chris Wood with 18 points, Watkins with 14, and Mbeumo honestly impressed me quite a bit, 7th with 10 points. You got Cliver up there with 4. Saka managed to get 9th because of one sim, I believe. Then Foden's also in there because of that one season. The sim after, actually, sim 19. Cunha's on here twice at 5th. Son getting on here once, I believe. Yeah, 4th. Also in that sim with Foden. He got 4th and got 2 points because of that. And Visser finished 5th in the 13th simulation, which was one of, I think, the first time at that point that 2 players from the same club were in the top 5 for goals and assists. He was 1 off Mbeumo. And then, very strangely, James Maddison was on there. He had a season with 23 goal contributions, which I was very surprised by. Yeah, so if I can figure out how to do it, I will put a link to this in the description if any of you guys care. To be honest, I might not. But you just have a look, and while you're there, so subscribe. Yeah. But now it's time to look at league table finishes. And there we go. Liverpool absolutely dominating here. As we can see in the first sim, nothing too crazy happens. In the second sim, we see Manchester United actually getting all the way up to 7th, which is a little bit of a surprise, it must be said. But in sim 4 was the first time where I went, oh my god, how has that happened? And pretty much, Newcastle finished 2nd in simulation number 4. Arsenal 3rd, Forest 4th, Chelsea 5th, and Man City all the way down in 6th. And I'm not going to lie, the simulations weren't favouring Forest very much. Very rarely got Champions League in these sims. Sim 13 was another time Arsenal failed to finish 2nd, which didn't happen all that often. Although it did happen again in Sim 14, where Chelsea managed to take that 2nd place position. Something you would not expect to happen in real life. It could. They did just lose to Arsenal, so probably not. In fact, definitely not, but you know. But then all the way on the right here, I'm just going to zoom out a bit. Hopefully the quality's not affected too much. I just want to be able to see the team names and this at the same time. We have worst finish, best finish, and average. And now that I have a business statistics class, I know all these random Excel commands, so I didn't need to manually look for it. Anyway, Liverpool, obviously, their worst finish. You know, we'll do best finish first. More positive. Liverpool did finish first every single time, so yeah, they are first as their best finish and also as their worst. Chelsea's best was 2nd alongside Arsenal, City, and Newcastle. They all managed to finish 2nd. We had Forest get into 3rd at one point, which, to be honest, I think is the most likely thing to happen in this Premier League season. So I'm really surprised that EA reckons they're only going to get 3rd 5% of the time, but that's besides the point. Villa got 4th once, and then there's a little drop-off where you have Bournemouth and Tottenham in at 6th. The best finishes for Fulham, Brighton, Brentford, and United was all 7th. Palace got into 9th one time. West Ham finished 10th in their best run. Everton, very, very depressing here, 14th, alongside Wolves. 17th was their best finish, which is where they are right now in the Premier League table. I could be wrong, but that's probably the only team in this whole sim that didn't get better at any point from where they currently are. Then we've got Leicester's best finish in 17th. So Leicester actually did survive a couple of times. I think it was just 2 in Sim 12 and Sim 15. Then Ipswich, their best finish was 18th. So yeah, they didn't survive at all. And the same with Southampton. Their best finish was 18th and they didn't survive at all. Then we can look at each team's worst finish. Southampton, Ipswich, and Leicester obviously all finished last at some point. And sorry, I just had to change. Crystal Palace had finished 51st.
You idiot! You're honestly an idiot. I don't know what's wrong with you.
In a sim apparently, but it was meant to be 12th, so I've changed that now. Wolves got relegated twice, I believe, 18th, and then there's nothing really too crazy anywhere else of where teams finished. Nothing that you'd not expect. Up until probably around Newcastle 11th and Villa 11th, that's a bit of a shock. You've got City in at 8th, which I think is a pretty big surprise. Maybe Forest's 8th, you could argue, is a bit of a big surprise as well. Chelsea 7th, yeah, that could happen. And Arsenal 3rd, so very consistent, and Liverpool 1st. And then if we look at the average Premier League table position, so this is kind of who EA think are going to win the league. You've got Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Chelsea, Forest, Newcastle, Villa, Brighton, Bournemouth, Tottenham, Fulham, Brentford, Palace, West Ham, United, Everton, Wolves, Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton, in that order. To be honest, I think that's fairly accurate. I think Tottenham could go up a little bit. Maybe United have been a bit harshly... No, not really. 13.65 on average. They are just rubbish, aren't they? Despite that 7th place finish. I've been recording for so long. Anyway, let's go look at the points now. This is the point tally of every team each season. And I'm just going to go straight to looking at best, worst, and average. So we'll look at worst this time. So the worst points tally for Southampton was 11th, meaning they didn't break the record for the worst Premier League season. They only equaled it. So well done to you guys. That would mean that they draw 2 games in the remaining 10 of the season. Ipswich and Leicester both managed 18. Wolves' worst was 27. Everton, 36. West Ham, Palace and United, all in the low 40s. Tottenham got 45, which I think is very low. We can skip forward a bit here because you can kind of expect anything in this bracket. Forest on 58. This is going from at the point they have 51 points, so there's no way that they're going to win only 2 games and have 1 draw from those games on. And actually, they've already won 1 game, so that would be EA predicting that after this match week, Forest only going to win 1 game for the rest of the season. Not going to happen. Chelsea on 60 equal to City, both very low points tallies, but that would just mean getting 4 wins out of the 10, not too shocking. Arsenal on 68 is a bit of a shock. And Liverpool, the lowest is 83, which is still higher than Arsenal's best possible season. So yeah, Liverpool's worst possible rest of the season is better than Arsenal's best possible rest of the season, like based on what the EA thinks they can do. City also had a season with 77. That's quite high. That would be the season they finished second, I'm assuming. Newcastle, 73. That'll be when they finish second as well. Forest also with 73. Chelsea with 72. Villa, Bournemouth. And you can just see. Look for yourself on the right here. I don't want this video to go on for too long. Tottenham had a season with 60. Very impressive. That would have got them 6th. But then if we look at average points tally, this is also another way you could look at who I think are going to win the league. It's relatively similar to the average finish. But yeah, there you go. On average, Southampton are going to get 16.85. So we'll round it up and say 17 to be generous. But that's still atrocious. Well, there you go, guys. Liverpool are definitely going to win the league. And yeah, I was thinking about doing a video like this for the Champions League knockouts. However, the live start point option does not let you start at the quarterfinals in the Champions League. But I'll figure something out. I'll probably just do it when you can do that. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. Please do be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.